A Bloomington church moves out of downtown into a new, big home with big dreams to help even more families in need.
You want to be able to come to church. You don't need to leave knowing you don't have any food in your refrigerator.
That's coming up on WGLT's news magazine, Sound Ideas. Good afternoon. I'm Lauren Warnicki. Also on today's show, it's not too early to celebrate America's 250th birthday, according to a group that's coming to Bloomington tomorrow.
Coming together for being Americans probably is the number one thing that outweighs anything else.
And a 3,000-year-old tradition returns to Bloomington with just one rule.
Make sure you participate. That's how you feel the joy.
All that coming up after a Bloomington Normal News update. This is Sound Ideas on 89.1 WGLT and WGLT.org, part of the NPR network.
Support for WGLT comes from Bloomington Normal Audiology. Hear My Story continues with local patient David Fedor.
Well, the sound was unbelievable. I was just stunned at the things that I was hearing. You know, little beeps and sounds from machines around the office that I wouldn't have heard before. It was pretty amazing.
David's full story can be found at bnaudiology.com.
From the campus of Illinois State University in Normal, this is WGLT's news magazine, Sound Ideas. I'm Lauren Warnicki. After 13 years on Jefferson Street, the City of Refuge Church has a new home. The church purchased a 5.5-acre commercial lot behind the Cracker Barrel in South Bloomington, including a 40,000-square-foot office building and large parking lot. WGLT got a sneak peek as City of Refuge, commonly referred to as the city, prepares to move in. It's a remarkably different footprint. Pastor William Bennett imagines the church as a community gathering space where all are welcome, whether they're parishioners or not. In their previous space, most meetings and ministry groups had to be held in the sanctuary. Church leaders struggled to find places for meetings.
One of the reasons why we love this building is because it provides us with enough space to do ministry, and those private moments that we have to have, we'll be able to do. So like for our executive team, you need to meet with somebody, take them in your office.
Across the main floor from the executive suite are offices and meeting spaces for the fellowship team. That's where Bennett envisions a supply of food for community members in need.
One of our main goals is to feed, the hungry, whether they be members of our church. If, you were short this week on groceries, you want to be able to come to church. You don't need to leave knowing you don't have any food in your refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? To come in this spot, get your groceries, and go home. Those who are outside of our church, non-members, still come in. These rooms are going to be stocked with groceries that you can get.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. The city now has space for a nurse's station, fellowship spaces exclusively for men, for women, for teens, seniors, and kids. They've envisioned a kids zone used for Sunday school, rentable co-working space and a media room, a music studio, and a podcasting suite. Eventually, they'll have a gym and a hangout space, an esthetician, a dance studio. Off of the sanctuary, nursing mothers will now have private space that have televisions with simulcasts of the service. But perhaps most importantly, there's an elevator that's making fellowship spaces accessible to everyone. By knocking down a bunch of walls, they'll create a sanctuary big enough for 300 people. The congregation stands at about 250 now, but they've already talked about adding a second Sunday service. When your parents opened the church, it was more a situation like this, right? It was just kind of a building that they built a congregation in. Yeah. When you went downtown to Jefferson, it was a church.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know the church is not the building,
right.
but this is kind of your opportunity to envision the sanctuary and make a church space out of a building that wasn't designed for that.
Absolutely, and that's been the fun part of it, right? To just get into this space and how can we turn this building into a church in 3 weeks? Or at least in a place where the church can come and worship and do what we do. And we have a great team. I need to shout out Dr. Krista Platt. She's our expansion director. So she's kind of the brains behind all of this. I'm just going along with her, supporting her vision. But yeah, it's been an awesome opportunity. Like you said, the people are the church. So wherever we go, God's going with us. The Spirit's going with us. But we're having to kind of use vision to kind of see how does this building work with what we need to do, and we're finding it's working.
I know that you said last time we chatted that there was a lot of excitement about going to a space that was more accessible, right? Like a little more accessible both for people with disabilities, for parking purposes, all of the ways. But I suspect some folks are a little sad to leave a building that looks like a church.
Yeah, we have 2 more weeks at Jefferson, and there, we do have some members that are a little sad, just leaving that space. We've been there for like 13 years, so, there's memories. We've done a lot of work in that place, so, but we're excited about this opportunity. The same things that happen on Jefferson are going to happen here and even more. We're going to have so many partnerships. I have a meeting next week with Cracker Barrel to think about some partnership that we can have since they're,
pancake breakfast, I'm thinking.
Come on, pancake breakfast. Come on over here. You have Cracker Barrel that Sunday morning before you hear the word. So we'll have things like that. But it is sad when you leave a spot that you've been at for a long time, but it's also exciting when you're going into a new space, able to occupy new territory, and still we're going to be here serving the Bloomington Normal, community. So we're excited, and the thing I can be happy about as a pastor, everyone who's come to this new place has said they loved it. And that's important for a pastor. Like, I want to make sure that you guys love where you're going to be. And so I think they love it.
So the opinions of City of Refuge's congregation matters a lot. So does the opinion of Bennett's mother, Colleen Bennett.
She's excited, right? And her, my father passed in 2003, but I know he would be proud just of where we're going. This move is probably the first one of all that we've done since I've been pastor, where I felt like I'm really leading off of the shoulders of my parents, right? And so when I came over to this space, one of the things I thought about was how my father and mother would be proud of what they started and where it's going. And so having the approval of my mother, one of our co-founders, that this is the next place for the city has been special. So she loves it. And that's so important. Your mother got to love it, because if mama don't love it.
She came by and was like,
Yeah, I don't know about this. And you can always tell. I could tell how she looked. I could tell by what she says. But no, she loved it.
City of Refuge was ready to sign on the dotted line for another space last year. That deal fell through, as did a contingent offer on their current home on Jefferson Street. It was a happy accident. The previous buyer was planning to demolish the church, built in 1888. Now, a congregation currently holding worship in a hotel will have a new home.
We took our building off the market when we thought we had to sell. They were shocked. The pastor was shocked when he seen it come back. Just like we were shocked when we seen this property. Like, where did this property come from? We haven't seen this in all of our searching. And so we just felt like this is a God thing. God is, for our building, he's shown us in our timing, and for their new building, he's shown that church in their timing. So we kind of just feel like it's worked out for the both of us.
City of Refuge will hold their first church services at their new location, 404 Brock Drive in Bloomington, on Sunday, October 6th. In addition to donations and earned revenue from rentals, the church will use money previously allocated for maintaining their century-old building and invest that back in their vision for a community center for all. Next up, we want to tell you about a new WGLT podcast we're working on. 9 countries have enough nuclear weapons stockpiled to destroy the Earth 8 times over.
If we accept that nuclear weapons must exist, then are we admitting to ourselves that their use is inevitable?
WGLT's podcast 12,000 Bombs examines the election issue no one is talking about, nuclear policy. We'll feature scholars and policy advocates visiting Illinois State University this fall. We'll also have parts of the first episode for you next week right here on Sound Ideas. It's Sound Ideas on WGLT and WGLT.org. I'm Lauren Warnicki. The Bloomington chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution is celebrating America's upcoming 250th birthday in 2026. A bronze marker commemorating the occasion will be unveiled tomorrow afternoon outside the McLean County Museum of History. The group plans to put a marker in all 50 states to honor those who signed the Declaration of Independence and who served in the Revolutionary War. Regent for the Letitia Green Stevenson chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution, Jamie Atchison, tells WGLT correspondent Braden Fogerson, America's 250th anniversary is a great source of patriotism for Americans. She says that's a mission the nonprofit has embraced since the late 19th century and continues to today.
Oh, we are so relevant today. We are a service organization, but you do have to have a lineage, someone who sacrificed or gave service to the patriots in founding our country. But we really have a threefold purpose of patriotism, historic preservation, and education. We're totally non-political, let me say that off the bat, but we're spreading awareness for patriotism, historic preservation, and education throughout our communities, nationwide and abroad.
And so how would you define patriotism?
I think it's just being able to contribute and serve your community and helping your fellow man, and also preserving that history, because we've come so far as a nation, and just to reflect how far we've come and what we've overcome to be here today. I think people tend to forget this in this age of, quick media and constant headlines grabbing things. But I think reflecting on our history of what we all overcame to come together as one is really prevalent.
With surveys showing between party lines, Republicans are around twice as likely as independents or Democrats to show strong senses of patriotism. So what do you make of that? Do you have any opinion on, maybe why that is or what that means?
That's an interesting statistic. I hadn't been aware of that. I just think as all of us are Americans, we all have contributed to the success of our nation, not necessarily one party or the other. I think that will ebb and flow, honestly, but coming together for being Americans probably is the number one thing that outweighs anything else.
And so what do you think of political candidates sort of appealing to Americans' patriotism when it comes to elections, when it comes to trying to get people excited to vote, to participate in our democracy?
Well, I think on both sides, it is important to get out the vote, and knowing that the uniqueness of our democracy is that the Founding Fathers wanted us all to have equal opportunities and come together and vote. Regardless of party, I think that's the main thing, and that's what makes America great and unique as far as being able to exercise our right to vote and as a people come together regardless of political party.
And just anything else you'd like to add about the event?
Well, I think people might think it's a little early to start celebrating America 250, but it's really only a mere 22 months away. So it's really an exciting time for the DAR, and also we're going to celebrate all the way through. We started last December with the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, and we're going to end in 2033 when the signing of the Paris Treaty was. So that's the end of the American Revolution. So, it's just get out there and celebrate America 250 however you can, and we're excited to leave this marker for many generations to come and see it and reflect on truly what our founding fathers and patriots that supported the founding of this nation did.
That was Jamie Atchison from the Daughters of the American Revolution speaking with WGLT's Braden Fogerson. The Bronze Market unveiling will be at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. It's part of Constitution Week, an annual designation that was signed into law during the Eisenhower administration. Stories and conversations from Bloomington, Normal, and McLean County. It's Sound Ideas. I'm Lauren Warnicki. Bloomington's Festival of Joy recreates a 3,000-year-old Indian tradition, including a chariot procession, food, dancing, meditation, and so much more. Lead organizers Purvi Shah and Prakash Chincholekar started the festival in 2010 through a grassroots effort by Bloomington Normal's South Asian community. Chincholekar says the first Festival of Joy in the United States took place in San Francisco in 1967.
So we were aware of that, and idea came up in our meeting that, hey, why not in Bloomington? Because all major cities celebrate this festival. The first event in 2010, we did it near the airport on a private property. And I believe 700, if my memory serves it right, about 700 people attended the event.
Can you tell me, Prakash, about the significance of the chariot and like kind of the backstory of the festival? I know it's like, can you wrap up 3,000 years in a cup? But
yes.
Yeah, he sure can.
Yes. So I'm glad you asked that question. So I'll tell you, basically this originated in the eastern city of India called as Puri. It's in the state of Orissa. There, the idea was basically 3 large chariots, come out of the street, and the presiding deity of that area is Lord Jagannath. And Jagannath literally translates to the Lord of the universe, basically. So, and it's pretty cool. He, along with his brother and sister, they come on the chariot. And the idea behind this festival is it's an idea of expression of love, right? Now, the expression of love is to God. With that, once you have that established, then every one of us are the children of God. So then that expression of love extends to all human beings, to all animals, to the community, to fraternity, to brotherhood, right? So all of us come together on that special day, and then we pull the rope on the streets, and we are the main essence of this festival is we are pulling the divinity back within us, and we are going on the streets and just passing all the barriers, crushing all the barriers, whether you're white, black, brown, Indian, American, African, doesn't really matter. The whole essence of India's tradition is it lies on we are not this body, but we are eternal soul.
It seems quite significant when you talk about, I think you said, pulling back the barriers, that, 10 years later, this festival moves from the, down by the airport to the very center of Bloomington. And that kind of mirrors just the growth of the South Asian diaspora in Bloomington Normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Last year, we had close to 3,500 guests.
Wow.
People have come all the way from Washington, D.C., Riverside, California, St. Louis, Chicagoland, and the nearby cities. So people were from east, west, they all gathered. And the typical response I got from the guest is, wow, we are celebrating this in the middle of cornfield, in middle of nowhere. And yet, the entire community is coming together. And a big shout out to the mayor. And he was the one who suggested hey, you guys are doing such a fabulous festival in Miller Park. Why not just bring this, to downtown? And yeah, you're right, Lauren, that, we have grown, definitely.
Purvi, can you talk about the other, there's a lot of festivities and joy and stuff to do, food and dance and henna and yoga and all the things. So apart from the parade, can you just describe the entirety of the day?
So Lauren, there's going to be something for everyone. It's a celebration of India's rich culture, cuisine, and then spirituality. So 3 things. To experience culture, we have booths like henna, which is an ancient art from India. We have professional artists, henna artists coming to downtown this year. And we have beautiful dot face painting. That's another traditional painting from India. And we have women entrepreneurs who are coming forward and presenting these arts this year. Food-wise, there's going to be a wide variety of Indian cuisine. Everything is going to be plant-based, vegetarian cuisine. And then there's this special booth from last year, which was a big hit, Try a Sari booth. That was a hands-on booth where our volunteers are waiting for you guys. Come, try a sari, take a picture. So that was something, not many people had done in the past. Spirituality-wise, we have booths of mantra meditation, and we have a booth called Spiritual Quotient. Check your spiritual quotient. There's going to be quizzes, live quizzes over there. And then we have a book stall. There'll be books on meditation, self-reflection, and mindfulness.
You had said, this festival is for everyone. Certainly people who have heritage in India may relate to it more directly, but that everyone is welcome and can kind of tap into the spirit of the day. How does someone who is not South Asian make sure that they do that respectfully?
There are absolutely no rules, right? So I strongly believe that we have a lot more in common than what divides us, basically. So just show up, in whatever you are comfortable with. And you will be experiencing something that, other culture is going to represent. So just by being you part of the festival in whatever you are comfortable, and that's what the spirituality is all about. We want to start from where we are and we true to be where, what we believe in, and then just show up. So there are no rules. No, if you have an Indian dress, sure, if you want to wear that and show up, great. If you're not, absolutely no rules. Anything to add, Purvi?
No, he's right.
Yeah.
It's an open for all festivals, and it will be a family-friendly festival.
Yeah.
And if you're bringing pets, you're welcome to bring pets, but there'll be a lot of crowds. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. So I can put my
pup in a sari too.
Yes.
So but it's going to be crowded. If you're a pet owner, you need to keep that in mind. But I cannot think of anything for cultural inappropriation as such. Can you wear shoes? Yes, you can wear shoes. Can you come in Indian dress? Yes. If you don't want, you don't have to. But make sure you participate. That's when you get to experience the festival. If your Indian friends inviting you to come join in the dance, go join the dance.
Yeah.
So, that's how you feel the joy.
The Festival of Joy takes place in Museum Square in downtown Bloomington on Sunday from 1 to 6. The evening ends with a free vegetarian meal for all, until all the samosas are gone. Festival of Joy takes place rain or shine. Prakash and Purvi say it's rained for 10 minutes every single year and then cleared up for the festivities. Fingers crossed.
Support for arts and culture coverage on WGLT comes from PNC Financial Services. PNC is committed to supporting local arts and culture events in the communities they serve.
Next week on Sound Ideas, for the first time, both major presidential tickets in this election have South Asian representation. 2 members of the Indian community in Bloomington Normal will share their views on representation and democracy. That's coming up on Monday's show. Thanks for choosing WGLT's Sound Ideas, made possible in part by Bloomington Normal Audiology. I'm Lauren Warnicki. We had story help today from WGLT's Braden Fogerson. Bren McMonigal edits the show. You can find all our Sound Ideas interviews and stories at WGLT.org. And you can subscribe to Sound Ideas on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts. We want to know what you think of Sound Ideas. Comment on our Facebook page. It's WGLT FM. At WGLT News is our handle on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. This is 89.1 WGLT and WGLT.org, part of the NPR network.